Mm.
All right, we are back. It's a brand new era. It's a brand new day and age. We off the bullshit. We're ready to build. We're ready to grow, and we're ready to get this shit popping again. So yeah, we got one person in the building. Say hey. Y'all been waiting for a minute. Just say what's up. If you cloud watching or whatever, say hey. Cause I'm just so excited to be back and just be, back at it again. For the so let me introduce Tragic Jay. What's up, Tragic? Don't be shy.
It's 5 o'clock. Shit, I don't even know what to say right now.
So I wrote some notes or whatever. Cause oh my god, we are vibing. I swear, it be changing. Like we be
Can you
having a
hear
good
me?
ass convo, and then we try to go live and have that same like energy, and it switch up. But
Nah,
but
what?
first,
What?
but
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Oh, there's two people over here. Good morning, everybody. It's a brand new day and age. It's a brand new era. So I'm just here to talk about our future plans and what we finna be doing and what we're gonna be, what's going down. And I took a vacation. I took a good ass vacation. Like I feel recharged, refreshed. Like I'm ready to just get back into it. Like I feel like I've outgrown so much shit though. Like I've outgrown a lot of the shit that because I peep back. I had some time off work and I peep back what's been going on within the community on YouTube and stuff. And I'm like, I'm so off that shit. Like I'm so outgrown. Like you know what I'm saying? I'm not even with the bullshit. I'm just not with it. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? I'm just here. I'm just here, like I've been saying, like the same shit I've been saying this whole time is what I mean. What I mean, what I say, like I'm just here to build. I'm just here for the community. I'm just here to, you know, actually progress us as a people. Like that's the only thing I really care about. I don't really give a fuck about none of the other nonsense that don't matter, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, so you've been gone too, So how you been where are we at now? What I'm saying, I feel like we're in a better place now, like as a community, as like in a better mindset, because I've been working on myself. I know that's what a lot of people have been doing. They've been trying to work on themselves. So that's where we're at. Like that's the main focus of just being in a better mind state. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
where do you think you're at? Like where you at right now? Like as a human, like you're in a relationship, like you're doing good. Like so, it's like what are we having to offer the community? Like what are we trying to build here? Like what do you think? Where we think we should start heading?
All right. First, I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
I be
Go
feeling
ahead.
like you can't hear me. Okay. So I'm new. I'm new in this space. People don't really know. They never. Me and you talk a lot, but these people don't know me. Like I never got on here, and I think I'm gonna just introduce myself because I'm gonna start coming into the space, this online community. It's an online community. So for people that want to know, I'm black and white, biracial, from America, born and raised, white mom, black dad, if that matters.
A purebred biracial, right?
It don't matter to me, but
You a
black and
thoroughbred, purebred, biracial motherfucker. I feel
white
that. Yeah.
specifically, because
I don't know.
you
You
know
breaking up a
how
little bit. What'd you
people
say? You breaking up a little bit.
people
If you don't get your ass by that
be
Wi-Fi
like,
router,
oh,
go stand next to the
yeah.
Wi-Fi router.
Hold up, let me. I turn my Wi-Fi off. Let me put it back on.
Put the Wi-Fi on, yeah.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Let me go to my notes. I love a good note. One second. Y'all four people, y'all say hey. Like you guys could talk. Like I said, it's a new era. We're not gonna be on the bullshit. We're gonna be sitting here, actually having a good time and enjoying each other's company. So, I would love for y'all to say hey, whoever's watching, all five of y'all. What's up? What's been going on with y'all? Talking to a man this early, sis. Better be your husband. Hee hee hee. That's my friend. My husband sleep. Do, do, do. Y'all always be on the bullshit, man. Y'all coming in here. I'm gonna block that comment. Bye. That's some bullshit. Anyways,
Can you
I,
hear me?
yeah.
Anyways, can you hear me?
Anyways, okay.
Huh?
No, okay. I'll unblock. I'll unblock you. I'll unblock. They say that I'm kidding. Okay. They were trying to come in here and start some shit. They were like, "Oh, you were talking to a man early this morning. That better be your husband."
Oh no, me and your husband cool, man. Not really.
I
No, I'm
know.
saying we cool. I fuss with him. I fuck me and we.
Exactly. Y'all know each other.
Yeah, we talk. We talk.
Long time. Oh, what's up?
I
That's
wouldn't
Cham.
disrespect
Oh,
though.
what up, Cham? You know, you cool as fuck, Cham. I fucks with you, Cham. How you doing? Yeah, I took a vacation, so I'm back. You know, long time magic. Good to see you. Good to see you. See, I'm happy to be back in the mix or whatever. You know,
I'm glad to be here. This is
I'm
something
good to be
I
back.
really want to
Yeah,
talk about. This is something I'm passionate about. Like
exactly, exactly.
people say race shouldn't matter, but I mean that's something we could talk about. Like people be like, oh, you shouldn't focus on race and this and that, but I don't know
Mhm.
what race don't focus on their race.
Exactly, exactly. That's the whole point of coming on here. Is like we're gonna focus more on like internal matters, right? That's what we were talking about. You know,
Yeah,
just me and you
that's
about how we're just sick of like always focusing on white or black people. It's like we got to start focusing on like how do we fit in with each other? Like how do we sit here and actually like get along with each other? Because that's been the main issue in these communities, right? Motherfuckers just hate each other. Like we just can't get along for shit. So how do we fix that? Like how do we actually try to come together and like what are we gonna tolerate and what we're not gonna tolerate? Like what are we really gonna really like put our foot down on and be like hell no? Nah. And what are we really gonna because my boundaries, like what I was telling you, is my boundaries is we need to really be with people who are actually gonna be about building. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I mean, I think that everything gonna happen naturally anyway. Like before, like even though we're having this conversation, they already predicted that mixed people are gonna be the majority eventually. Like it's unstoppable because when black and white people live together, what's gonna happen? Like they're all in America together, so they're gonna.
Exactly.
Hold
So
on.
that's why we gotta like lay the foundation about like what are we really what's our community really gonna look like? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm seeing it more and more. Because I took because everybody's like, oh, this is just online. This ain't real life. So that's what I did. I put it down. And I was like focusing on my real life. So I'm seeing like what's really going on in like my little area, my community, and I'm seeing it more and more. Like I don't know. I feel really proud. Like I feel like proud of biracial people. Not just like because I was feeling really discouraged from all the shenanigans that was going on online. I was like, oh my god, we are fucking nuts. These motherfuckers is crazy. But it's not really a reflection of us. Like all those little,
Nice people, crazy people online. Period.
there's crazy people online. Exactly. We can't let that be our representation and be a reflection of like who we are. You know what I'm saying? You got to go in real life. Like
I
people
mean,
aren't really acting like that in real
if
life.
you're gonna be online with it, you really have to like screen people. You can't just talk to anybody. You gotta really
Yeah, exactly. So
screen people. You can't just you gotta treat people like they're strangers. Like you can't.
exactly. And I took a step back from it and I'm actually like looking at like what's really going on in real life. And the more I'm seeing we are really beautiful, amazing people. Like I see us really like, everywhere I go, there's like a biracial, there's like one or two biracial people sprinkled everywhere you go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just look at it and I'm really proud. I'm like, we got style, we're beautiful. I see more relationships coming together, people in high positions, they got their shit together. Like, I'm seeing that. And it's like, wow, like that makes me feel proud. And that inspires me to want to do better. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm seeing what's really going on, the bigger picture of shit. You know what I'm saying? Not just like, I don't see race as a problem. The people being incapable of treating people decently just because we're facts. That is, you always come through with the facts. Like
Yeah,
you always
I agree with that.
spitting real
I
shit. I like that. That is the realest shit ever. Like exactly. Like why
I
can't
agree with his comment. Um, people like their differences, and that's kind of like why we here, why we talking right now. Is that
exactly?
people don't even want to notice that biracial people are different. They try to act like we're not different, which erases
That's
us.
the problem. It's
Like,
like why do people make different mean bad? Like it's like what
right.
we give meaning to. You know what I'm saying? Like I think about that all the time. Like it's like, oh, if I'm not exactly like this person, that means I must hate them, like, or I must get away from them. Like, it's weird. It's like, once you notice differences in people, why is it like awkward? Like, oh, you're different from me. Like, why is that got to be an awkward thing? Why are we so scared of like differences? Why are we so scared of being around people who don't look like us or who don't think like us, or what I'm saying? And it's, why is that? Like, what is about humans that, because I embrace that I'm different. Like, I don't want to be like all these motherfuckers. I embrace that I stand out. Like, that was like a thing that I used to feel insecure about. Like, oh, everywhere I go, I'm gonna be different from everybody. But now I flip that shit on its head. I'm like, shit, I love that about me. I love that I'm gonna be walking in the room and be different from everybody. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't make it mean that different is a bad thing. Like, I love differences. Like, I don't want everybody to be fucking same. Like, so it's like, you do got to treat people respectfully. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's all we want. That's all I want. Like, bitch, I am different. Like, I'm not like you, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna be respected as a human being, bitch. So, yep. Oh yeah, you want to come up? Hell yeah, come up here. What time is it over there in the UK? Yeah, come
UK.
on up, man. Hell yeah. Let me.
UK.
He over in the UK. My UK bruv.
Yeah, it's 6 a.m. over here.
There's the link right there. Oh, it's early in the morning over there. Okay, yeah, we're doing this early in the morning, fresh, a fresh start for a fresh era. So yeah, come on up.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in this space all year long. I'm coming in this space, and I've been real busy, and I'm still busy, but I'm gonna make time for this. Like, I'm gonna try to balance my real life with this. Like you said, real life is important. Focusing on yourself is still important.
Yeah,
But
it's about growth too. I feel like I've outgrown so much stuff that I used to be. Shit I used to like. It's a big deal. Like, oh, what people are thinking about me, what people da da da. Because it's like, when you first come to a biracial community, you're like, oh, you want everybody to like you because it's like it's different, right? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, oh, you want to fit in with your own fucking people who. So I really cared. I was like, I really want people to, really. But I don't know. Like you said, that's the thing we got to work on. Like, how are we gonna like really get along with each other? Because we're all so different culturally and different. That
uh,
I talk about that all the time. Like, even the whole white biracials that are like culturally white and the black white. I talked about all these things. I did a stream, and then like the MGMs that are like multi-generational and the first generation, like all these different differences. Like, those were the first things that I came into the community addressing, trying to find some common ground, some understanding on, right? Because it was like just dividing us more and more and more and more. And it's like, that's what I always been about, like us like uniting, right? But a lot of people didn't like that about me. They were like, oh, you trying to be kumbaya, you're trying to get along, and you're just so right. I got so much shit for that. I got so much shit
I
for
mean,
that. Like,
there's a time for everything. Like, there's a time for peace. There's a time for war. There's a time
exactly,
for
I agree. What up, Sham man? How you doing? Thanks for
Um,
coming up.
thank you for having me.
Good to
Hey,
talk to you. How you been,
yeah,
man?
I've been all right. It's been a very, very long time.
It has been. I took a good little vacay. I've been focusing on my life, and I feel good. I feel like I'm in a good mindset right now. I feel happy and positive. I just want to share that. That's the thing. I want to come on here and share the best of me with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to share the worst of me. I want to share the best with you guys. So that's why I was like, I
That,
got to take a little mental
that's
break.
great. That's great. That's great. But
Oh
just
yeah,
so you know, even if there are times where you may be feeling low, at the end of the day, you're a human being just like everyone else. So don't
facts.
feel like you have to suppress that. You know, at the end of the day, again, you're a human being, and we have good and bad emotions. It is what it is. You know, don't try to suppress that just because you get the idea. Like, it's not healthy. It's healthy to express all emotions, in my opinion.
Absolutely, absolutely, right? I can't I've never been one to sit here and pretend like, oh, I'm perfect or nothing like that. I'm just a human
Right.
trying my best like everybody else, and trying
Hmm.
to help people and trying to, you know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm
Absolutely.
at.
I want to
Absolutely. And
say
I love
this.
your comment. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, no, I'll let you finish. Sorry.
Oh, I just loved your comment about like, like it's not about race, because that's what I did. I stepped back from like the race mindset. Like, I don't want to focus on race all the time. Like, that shit gets so toxic. You know what I'm saying? That like we know
Hmm.
that shit get real toxic when you're always talking about race, always talking about there's like, I like how you're pretty healthy about it. Like you're not sitting here bashing people
But
because they're,
what's the definition of race though?
I'll
There's two
define it.
there's two definitions. You know that, right? And
Well, yeah, it
they kind
depends.
of work hand in hand when
Yeah,
you
it
think.
depends. I mean, there's a correlation, but yeah, like, it depends on the context. Like how I define it. It's not just how I define it, but I've looked at definitions. But for the most part, uh, since the beginning of time, it's always been about a categorization of humankind who
Right.
share
mm-hmm.
distinctive physical traits. That's how it's always been. The problem is these DNA ancestry test results. I mean, tests, just tests alone, they came about in the 90s, and now people start to think, oh, it's about your percentages, when really that's not how it's always been. It's literally a social construct based on phenotype. That's basically how it is. If you look a particular way, you're part of this group. For example, a perfect example is African people, as in black people. But again, one thing you need to know about me, I don't say black anymore. I say African because it's like, notice how we say black, white, and Asian. I'm like, wait, hang on, Asians don't get to be called a color, but we as African
Exactly.
people are
I like
called a
that.
color.
Yeah,
Nah,
because that's like a real categorization. Like your
yeah,
your ancestors are from Africa. They're African. Yeah. So I
I mean,
like that.
yeah, yeah,
there's not wrong with color though. That goes back to respecting differences. Like you should be able to
yeah,
respect people of darker skin, lighter skin, white skin, pale skin, whatever the
right.
color.
I was gonna say, yeah, about that. Like, race is not an issue. People are using race as a scapegoat for their messed up behavior. At the end of the day,
Facts.
what's wrong? Why are you that, as a human being? Why are you that incapable of being a decent human being to someone else just because they're of a different race? I think that's ridiculous. So race is not the problem. People are the problem. I
I
have a
agree.
best friend who is European, as in white. But again, anyway, he's European as hell, white as snow, and we are best friends. So if we can be best friends, if we can coexist despite being different races, then what is these other people's excuses? Instead, they want to blame race. That says a lot about them.
Big facts, yeah. Because like I said, I stepped back from like the race mindset for a while
Hmm.
because I was like, I don't really want to focus. I just want to focus on people as like individuals, like get to know
But
people
that's
for who
fine.
they
But that's
are.
fine. But even in times when you focus on race, don't let these people gaslight you, because
Mhm.
you talking about race, there is absolutely nothing wrong with it, because race is a reality. Yeah,
It's
it's
a
a social
reality, right?
construct. Yeah,
Mhm.
it both can coincide. It's a social
Exactly.
construct and it's a reality. We do come in different physical characteristics. That's just a fact.
Yes,
I'm
it
not.
is.
We're not blind.
We're
I
not blind.
think
Yeah, we're
I
not gonna
think
sit here
I think
with
race
that
should be
colorblind BS.
I
Yeah.
think race should be important to everybody because not that it should be important because we're not all humans, but because it's important to the wrong people. Like there's people who use race in society to group together to oppress other people. So
Yeah, that's true.
if race doesn't matter to you, then you're just being naive because there's other people it does matter to, and those people are going to have a step ahead of you because they're working together as a race while
Yeah.
you're not. So if you're not working together as a race while they are, you're going to always be at the bottom because you're sitting here singing kumbaya while they're gathered together as their race and just
It's
dominating.
delusion. It's delusion. Tragic Jay. It's delusion. They don't want to face the problem. They don't want to acknowledge the problem. So they play this "I'm colorblind" nonsense.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So if you want to address the problem, you can't be colorblind. You got to actually see race for what it is. And
Yeah,
for
but some of
me,
these
I
people they
can't.
run away from it.
Yeah,
I love
Eh,
what you said, Jim. Like what you said about people using race to like cover up. Like there should be a way to
Yeah,
like address it and talk about it, but not get like super negative. I hate these. Why I hate these people or these. Like I don't want to be. I want to like address my people, address my own issues. Talk about things that are specific to
there's
my
nothing
mission.
why with
You
that,
know,
magic.
well, that's
There's
why
nothing wrong.
I really wanted to break down the term race because, like Chan said, it's a phenotype, right? That's your uniform. But the coalition to it is race is also what competition. Like you're competing with.
Competition.
So it's phenotypes competing with other phenotypes. That's really what it comes down to, and
Mm.
it's because we're living in a society, right? It's about civilization, technology. I mean, you got races competing to colonize Mars. So it's like when it comes down to it, it's phenotypically people competing. So if you're not competing, you're gonna lose. That's what I'm saying. It should matter to people. It should matter to Africans, biracial people, Chinese people, white people, because
Yeah,
everybody's competing.
yeah. But I mean, it really
That's the
says a lot about.
reality. But
Yeah, no,
but
it's the reality. Yeah, no one can run away from reality.
right.
You know,
So I mean,
yeah.
what it really comes down to though is respect. We really gotta, because race is gonna exist. It could be important, but there has to be you have to keep relations good, race relations good,
Mm-hmm.
and
Facts. That's
you could
why.
agree with that,
Yeah,
right?
remember that's when I first started talking to you, champ, when I did that live stream about how do we heal like the relationship between like the biracial community and then the black community, right? Because I was like, there's a schism there. And so I was like, how do we address those type of issues? You know what I'm saying? Because if they
Uh-huh.
go unaddressed, they're just gonna get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so much
Mm-hmm.
like misunderstanding on both sides. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
we both because at the end of the day, we both want mutual respect from, you know what I'm saying? Like nobody want to feel disrespected because of how they look or how they are, their culture, or you know what I'm saying? So it's like that's all that
Absolutely.
asking for was like, we just want that mutual respect that, we are how we are, we don't want to sit here and be
Mhm.
treated a certain way just because we're biracial or whatever. And of course, I don't believe in because that's the issue too that I see. It's like a lot of biracial people, they've been taking a lot of shit for a while, right? They've been taking, oh, you a mutt, you this, and it's been normalized, right? We've talked about that a lot, like how it's been normalized, like nobody cares. People are desensitized. Like you could treat a biracial person because we don't have strength in numbers, right? We're not like a powerful collective,
Melada,
so
can I
it's like,
add to that? Could I add to that real quick?
yeah, let me finish what I'm
You
saying. Just
said
real
all
quick.
right.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
Go
So
ahead.
it's like, how it's been normalized. And then, a lot of biracial people are taking that. They're like, fuck it. I'm going to just be racist back. I'm just going to be like, fuck these. They're going to be racist back because that's how what they've been dealing with. So it's like, it's tough because I'm like, it's sad because it's like we're always taking a high road. We always just, I don't want to, treat nobody want to treat nobody bad. But it's like, so I just noticed I don't do this, but I noticed that that's what other biracial people been doing. That they are sitting here like, oh fuck it, I'm gonna treat them the same way they treated me, and then it's like reinforcing stereotypes on us because it's like we're stereotyped as, oh, we're anti-black and we're this and this and this, and they're kind of like, fuck it, I don't even care no more. I'm gonna just, and it's just a bad like cycle that I'm just like, yo, we need to like really heal this relationship where it's like it's not cool and normal to like be color, not I don't know, it's racist because you do consider us different, we're different races technically, right? Like
Not even just
we're
biracial. And here is where Chan Meister becomes extremely controversial, mainly to Americans, right? This is where I get very controversial. But it is what it is. I'm not trying to be malicious. I'm not being spiteful, but it is what it is. So not just biracials, I don't consider biracials African. Again, as in for context, when I say African, know that I mean racially African, as in black, because I don't use
Yeah,
the term
and that's
anymore. But
cool,
nonetheless,
right? And that's what
yeah,
we're
yeah.
at because we're like, we are our own people, we are our own race at the end
Yeah,
of the
like
day.
you don't hear
That's
Asians born in
cool.
America. You don't hear Asians born in America saying I'm yellow American. No, they say they're Asian American. So me, I'm not saying I'm black British. I'm African British, more specifically Gambian British. For ethnicity purposes. But anyway, I don't even consider. You guys heard of the term light skinned black? I
Yeah, I
don't.
know you don't even consider that. You gotta be
Yeah, there's no such thing as a.
there was a threshold. I know you sent me the picture. There was like a certain threshold where it's
Light
like,
skin,
Oh,
that comes
like
from
as in.
that extends from American history though. That's why,
Oh
because the
yeah,
whole
one drop rule. Yeah.
that's what I wanted to add to what she was saying about biracial people getting treated like such and such is because the truth is biracial people in America don't know their history and why we're being treated this way, because biracial have a history of you know not getting along with black people and
Mm-hmm.
aligning themselves with white people. So
Mm-hmm. But
when we're
also
being
a lot of.
so when we're being treated like a certain way, we're not knowing our history, and but other people do know our history, so they're treating us a certain way, like we know what y'all done before, so we feel like we got to keep you in check. But
Mhm,
this is a different era. That's why this channel is called New Era. Like the
mhm,
times have changed. You know what I'm saying? We're not the scale isn't biracial people tipping themselves towards white anymore. Nowadays, biracial people are more aligned with black people. So it's like the
here's
time's
the
different.
problem though. Here's the problem. Now, this, like I said, is where Chammeister gets very controversial, which is one of those things where it's controversial, but it should not, in theory, be controversial. But even the term black or African, whatever, in the United States is very skewed and broad due to that stupid racist one drop rule, where anyone is damn near considered African. But really and truly, you know, the reality is, and people can dispute this, but it's indisputable. The reality is, African people have dark skin, dark brown eyes.
But do you know why light skinned
Wait,
people are
wait,
called?
just hear me out, and then I'll let you talk. Dark skin, dark brown eyes, Afro textured hair, and are unambiguous. You know, from the Wesley Snipes to the Shaquille O'Neals, etc., etc. All these Michael B. Jordans and Will Smiths, they're not biracial, but they're not African either. They're in between, and they usually are a product
Yeah,
of an African
it's because
and
of
a
American
biracial.
history. That's
Yeah,
because
no,
of
I
American history.
absolutely, yes, yes, yes. And I feel sorry for biracials because historically, you know, the one drop rule has not only affected African people, but it's also really affected biracial people
Yeah,
because
it killed
it
two
has
birds with one
oppre-
stone.
yeah,
That's
it
how
oppressed.
white supremacy. They're smart. When they made the rule, it was attack on both of us, and we just went ran with it.
Yeah, man, it really oppressed
Exactly.
biracials. It basically said, you know, undermined them and basically stripped them of their mixed identity. So now, as generations go by, you know,
And
they
that's for
don't know
Africans'
that they're
identity as
biracial.
well.
Yeah, no,
So
absolutely. In the sense
that's what,
that, I mean, yeah, like it would breed African people out because it has brainwashed African people into believing that if they procreate with anyone mixed with black African,
they'll recreate
then they're
black.
still preserving the race. In
But not
actuality,
in reality, they're creating light
So
skinned
true.
black people. That's where the term came
Facts.
from. Light skinned
you're
black
right,
people.
right.
And and the one drop rule, light skin, the term light skinned black people, it became the term came from an alliance for biracial people and black people.
Yeah,
So
it's such an oxymoron as well. You know, people. I try to tell people, hey, there's no such thing. They say I'm stupid. I'm like, okay, well, I'm Chammeister. I'm a dark skinned white man with two white parents, and they think I'm insane. Think about that. Dark skinned white. They don't. They. Someone told me that doesn't make sense. That's an oxymoron. I'm like, okay, so is light skinned black. That's also an oxymoron. They're like, nah, one exists, the other one doesn't. I'm like, okay, yeah, we are far gone.
no, you're right, but there's biracial people like me that's born in America is I like waking up to this reality. Like
Hmm.
everything is
Hmm.
saying, like I'm fighting back against it. I'm fighting back against the one job rule.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because if we were black or white like they say, they would have never needed to create the one drop rule to begin with. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right. But I want to say this, and so regarding the quote unquote prototype, I'm using what someone else said, prototype, as in like what the standard of what African people look like. Like I said, dark skin, dark brown eyes, Afro texture, they're unambiguous. So regarding the Michael B. Jordans and Will Smiths and Nia Longs, now obviously considering that race is a social construct, that means what people don't realize is you can create any term you want. How do you think the term Blasian came about? Blasian came about, it became, the term was more used like over time, and now it's a thing now. So I'm saying people have the ability to create terms. Like I created a term, obviously because I don't want to leave the brown skinned people behind. I created a term for them, and my subscribers like the term. I call it Afro Morone. So if you're predominantly of African descent and you are brown skinned, then I would put you in that category, the Afro Morones,
Yeah, that's
because
beautiful. I like
yeah,
that.
yeah, because it's out of consideration. Like, yo, obviously they're not gonna just want to be called mixed because it's such it's too broad of a term
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's not
Hmm.
specific. So I'm considering in the sense like, I don't want to leave these people hanging. Let me create a term that makes sense for them. Something like Afro Moroni. They're of African descent. It lets people know, hey, they're of African descent and they are
So
brown.
what you're saying is African Americans are apart from Africans.
Well, here's another, not to be pedantic, but here's another twist, right? So a lot of African American identified people aren't actually African American. Like the true African Americans,
Are you saying
you
that
know.
because they got like 10, 15% white in them?
No, no, no. And that's another thing. I don't really do percentages because, like I said, race ultimately and since the beginning of time has always been about similar physical characteristics. So I'm not pedantic about percentages. It's not really practical because, and also they came out in the 90s as well. Really and truly, these percentages,
But those
they
brown
like
people,
no one's really made up. No one's really made up of percentages. Like they just
I
help you
agree.
define.
So
Yeah,
messy. so messy.
But like
Yeah.
the people you named and you said they're brown.
Oh,
That's
like
because
Afro Maronis. So like Michael B. Jordan, Will Smith, Neil Long, Ice Cube. Yeah,
yeah.
those people, they're their own category. Now I'm doing this all in the name of representation, because at the end of the day, that's what I'm mainly focused on.
What
Not really.
aren't they represented as African Americans though?
They are, no, yeah, no, they are, but a lot of
So wouldn't
people
that
are.
already put them apart from Africans just by saying African American?
No, but I'm talking about race here, like regardless of nationality.
Yeah,
So I'm saying,
that's their race, African American, black.
well, I mean, but I mean, like the African would be
Because
the race because
that's their phenotype. Remember, race is phenotype. So
no,
African
no, no,
American.
absolutely, yeah. So I'm saying no, African across globally. Like I'm African as well. I'm from Britain, but like when I say African, I mean I'm just focused on that, like the
Yeah,
racial
like
aspect.
100. You're
But
talking about 100%. I mean, you
well,
said
again, I
percentages
don't
don't matter.
like I don't do percentage. Like for example, Hillary Clinton could have a Native American ancestry, but like, are we really going to say that she is mixed looking? No, she's still European. Like I don't. It would be pedantic. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, are you going to refer to Donald Trump as a mixed looking person?
No, he's white because I don't.
Exactly, exactly. But no, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't
Think
do
about
percentages.
like the
But
I'm
no,
not
because
real
pedantic.
what I'm trying to say
Americans.
is some percentages do have a phenotype. Like if you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah, like
let's
there's a
take Donald
correlation.
Trump. Let's say he was 2% black. 2% black would be a white phenotype. So you're still white.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, I agree. Like, because that's why I said I'm not pedantic about percentages. I
Oh.
don't. You know what I'm saying? I'm not
But but
pedantic.
but I'm just
I
trying to
focus.
like the percentage thing are like you said, like African Americans, like most of them are brown, but on average that's because they're percentages though, like 10% white.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Actually, you know what? Carry on with your talk. I'll be back in 3 minutes. Sorry. I'll be right back. Sorry.
Okay. But here, look, in our new era, I ain't gonna worry about percentages or argue about a name. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, okay, we're gonna go with, biracial or I'm
No,
not gonna
I'm not trying to make it an argument. I'm just trying to get like everybody just needs to get on the same page and understanding. Like
yeah.
there's people who will argue percentages and there's people who don't care about percentages. So we got to get those same people on the same page, like
Are
to come to
you
an agreement.
I feel like I don't really think about percentages really. I mean, I think we got like I
I
did we got caught up in it in a minute. It was like, oh, how many percentage
but
how
that's the thing. Look, as us speaking here, it don't matter what we think. We got to think about what other people are gonna think. Like
I
what
stand
their
with Jay.
what arguments they're gonna come with to us. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Oh, thanks for rocking with the stream, Knuckle Up. If you want to come up and talk, we all I'm just vibing. Let me
He
see.
said, "I stand with Jay."
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna need your
Come
backup,
up,
man. We need your
talk, enjoy
support.
the combo. It's just a little pop up, fun. But here, look, I'm talking about this new era. So in my new era, look, I'm not gonna argue with nobody about percentages. Like I'm definitely past the percentages part. I want to have like a healthy mindset towards race. I don't want it to get toxic and be like, because I feel like I'm already healed. Like you know what I'm saying. I've been past like my healing phase of like I'm not worried about they don't like me or they talk so much. Like I don't care about that no more. Like you know what I'm saying. I'm not really worried about like who don't like biracial people or that was a big thing we focused on for a while about like, oh, look how much talk shit they talk about us and they're just so
No, we
I don't know,
passed that. We got to focus on
I'm so
ourselves and
past
biracial
that.
people.
Like I'm totally past that. Like they can say whatever the fuck they want. Like they can do whatever they want as long as we're thrive. Like we gotta focus on like you said, internal issues. We gotta focus on us as a people doing what we're doing instead of what people are saying about us. Because if we gotta focus on getting our power because we're not giving away our power to other people. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm doing in this new era. I'm focusing on internal issues. I'm not worried about what motherfuckers saying about me. I'm not worried about percentages, and I'm not gonna worry about us arguing about names back and forth 24/7. Like those are some things that, and I'm gonna only focus on people who are actually trying to build some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like who are actually gonna try to stand with us, and like I'm not worried about people who are just here just to argue and just get attention and just be on the bullshit all day. Like I'm not gonna waste my energy and time on no shit like that. Like those are my five. Like this is a new era. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here to thrive. I'm here to. So
I'm willing to have any conversation, whatever they bring to the table, and
I love.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to have any type of
if
conversation.
if they
Yeah, I love it. anybody want to, I'm willing to have any type of conversation too. You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to clear the air. Like I'm trying to like squash shit, get shit out the way. Like people, like that's what I'm saying. Whatever argument anyone wants to bring, like I'm here. That's what I'm coming to this space for. Like, say what you got to say, and let's get it over with. Let's come find the perfect reasoning. You know what I'm saying? Whatever make the most sense. Whatever make the most logic. That shit.
But like you were saying, like what we were saying about is a time for peace and a time for war, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like we were at war for a long time. I don't know. I feel like it was just all war. Like it was just straight, like just there was a lot of civil wars within the community. And so I don't know. I'm just in my peaceful era where I'm just trying to be at peace with myself and be at peace with people who I'm around.
Yeah, that's what we want. We want to create peace, but if people come with the war, that's the time for war. Like you gotta let them have it. Like that's how I feel though. That's just me as a man. You thinking, the women y'all could just sit back and relax and watch.
Y'all got it.
But, like I'm here for whatever it takes because I gotta stand my ground. At the end of the day, I'm a biracial man. You come with some biracial bullshit, I'm gonna have to, I can't just let it slide. I gotta stand up for myself. I gotta stand up for my people. I gotta stand up for everybody. That's how I feel.
For sure. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, like you have to stand up for yourself. You got to make sure you ain't the one, because we cannot we got to be on point,
especially online. If I live in America, I spend my whole life having to stand, be a biracial man in America. So you think I'm gonna let some punk online tell me what to do? Crazy.
It's
yeah, but we ain't. I don't know. I just got here. Ain't been no problems yet. Sam seem cool. He black. He dark skin. You don't see no beef, right? No beef, right?
Ain't no beef.
No argument. No beef. No nothing.
That's the type of environment. But that's the
what's
type
the
of
problem?
That's the type of shit I've been on though. Like this whole time when I entered the space, I was like, I'm trying to, come together, have the conversations that need to be had, hash it out, talk it out, like grown people, like adults. Like we got to be able to communicate and not just be silly and petty and always just throwing shade, and just actually like directly. I've always been about that, and I've always been about, like you said, having the convo, and just having the convo. I forgot what I was gonna say, honestly, but I just always been trying to promote
no, I think percentages. I like the percentage conversation. I think it's interesting because percentages. A lot of white people come with that argument. Like the one drop rule is about percentages, right?
Even if you 0.2%, you're
no. I'm not saying. I'm not saying that we need to base. Our.
It is you're right.
I'm not saying we need to base things off percentage. I'm not saying we need to do that. What
I'm
saying is that we need to kill that argument. Like we need to kill it. Like we got to kill it to the point percentage don't matter.
I like that. I love that.
Because the one drop rule is about percentages, and that shit just needs to go out the window. Like who the hell? How can you be 1% black and be black? That's crazy.
I agree. See, we needed this voice in the community.
That's crazy to me.
I love that. Like, yeah, man,
you're 1% black and you're black. That's not a problem.
That's what. Look.
How come when you're 1% white, you're not white?
No, we need to this. That's how we need to be. We need to totally attack the argument, because people get so caught up and want to make shit personal. Like, oh, this bitch.
Oh no, ain't nothing personal. If you come say some stupid shit, you go. I'm gonna make you sound stupid, like you are.
People come at me and they like, oh, I'm a long titty ass bitch, and I'm. They attack my love.
Do with anything?
I'm a peanut pie. Like, what the fuck that got to do with anything?
Their mom probably got long titties. Like, what does that got to do with anything?
It got shit to do with anything. Like, I could be ugly as fuck all day. Oh well, okay. What does that got to do with anything that I'm saying or anything that if you don't like anything I'm saying, we could talk about it. We could sit here and
that's when they lost. That's when you won the argument.
That's when they lost, because it's attack the argument. That's why I've always been about that. I've had debate streams and stuff where I was like, we're gonna keep it about the argument. Remember I did that debate stream. That's when you reached out to me when I was like, should we be inclusive or not? That was the big topic in the community for a while. Like, should we be inclusive or should we be exclusive? So we had a little debate about it. And the man, he brought his points and then we brought our points, and it was cool. We were totally cool afterwards. Like, there was no issue. Like, nobody made it personal where it's like, oh, fuck you. It didn't get to that point, because it's no, we got to learn how to really attack the argument. There's so much bullshit out there that we have to attack the argument about, and not make it about, looks or whatever the fuck, make it a personal thing, or I don't know. That's you lose to me because it's like,
Well, I would
what does
like
that?
to see the future of this now because
Yeah, what's the future gonna look? We
I'm
gotta create the future. You know what I'm saying? You gotta create it. So for me,
I'm passionate about this. If me being up at 5 a.m. don't tell you that I'm passionate, because I'm
yeah,
not getting paid for this. I'm not getting paid.
I'm
I'm
not
here
getting
for free at 5 a.m. So
you up right at the crack of
this is
dawn.
my purpose, bro. This is my purpose right now. I'm doing my purpose right now. I
So
just want everybody to know that. So
what do you want
before
to
they
see?
come with some bullshit, know that this is I got a spirit in me.
Yeah, but what do you want to see manifested in the future? So for me personally, what I want to see, I want like
I want to see happiness. I want to see
happiness. I love that.
everybody getting along. I want to see, I
I
want to
want to
see
see
us being
everybody
biracial and peace. I
because
don't want
we've
it to be a
seen the
problem.
worst. Like I feel like you've been like we've seen the worst of what it could be. It's like we gotta like completely transmute all that and like transform the worst. You gotta make
I'm not
turn.
gonna lie. I wish I would have been here for the worst because I feel like
Oh,
I could have solved I could have stopped a lot of things. Like
it was
that's just
bad.
how I feel. I
Here's
wish I
the
could have
issue though. This is what I noticed that was like a turn off to me. It's like any
things like remember like things you were telling me like I feel like people weren't having the right conversations and they weren't reacting to things right because they didn't have the right person
they weren't
there.
having the right conversation. They didn't know how to have the right conversation because it's like as soon
Yeah,
as
that's what I'm
you
saying. The
read,
right people wasn't there. Like I feel like I needed to be there. Like I'm not
yeah,
trying to
like
like
I like
gas
how you
myself up.
able to attack the argument. It's like any little disagreement. It was like it turned into an all out civil war where it's like this person's ugly and this person's this. It turned into like a whole person. People took shit really personal if you like disagreed with what either
Yeah,
was saying.
there was no voice of reason.
That was the problem.
It was just chaos.
It was just chaos. Yeah,
It was
exactly.
lost
So
people having a conversation and had no really didn't have no
and
idea what they was
really
talking about.
productive. Like,
They
yeah,
just
they
seen
weren't
something
trying to.
that sounded good and ran with it.
No, people were just on streams, just trying to. They weren't really trying to like be productive. Not like trying to actually like build a. What I'm trying to say
Maybe
is,
I'm glad I wasn't here. Maybe I shouldn't have been here.
no, you
I just
shouldn't.
know I'm here now, so
A lot
everything's
of
timing.
bullshit.
I believe in a higher power. Everything is timing. So
Hey,
I
what's
think
up?
I'm
I'm
here at the
back.
right time.
Oh, you're back. What's up?
What's up? Sorry about that. I said 3 minutes, but it was longer than 3 minutes, so I apologize.
Good. We were just vibing and stuff, but yeah, like
Okay.
I like what he was saying. Did you hear what he was saying?
Uh, wait. Sorry, I just came back, so I don't know
Oh,
what.
he said that like he was saying how we were talking about how like hold on, I think it's my okay. We were saying how when it comes to the one drop rule, how that is a argument about percentages and that we have to destroy that whole argument. So that's not even a thing no more. We just got to destroy the whole percentage argument at the end of the day because it's not beneficial to anybody really.
Not only that, it's not practical. Like you can't break a human down by percentages. Like, and not to mention,
No, yeah, I did my DNA test too, but I didn't feel like it made a difference. Like, oh, I'm 12%. This, like, I'm like all these different percentages from everywhere. From
Hold up.
Mhm.
Exactly, Tim. You say you
what the
can't
hell is
break
that?
people down. You say you can't break people down percentages, right? Everybody's 100% something. So there's no such thing as a half black person or a half white person. We're whole. We're whole. We're
like
100%.
in the literal
We just don't have a
percentage.
label.
Yeah,
We don't
like
have a term.
But yeah, it simply put, like I don't use percentages. I go by phenotype because that is what race is about at the end of the day. And then
Yeah,
once an African
it's a
person,
social
and
race is a social construct, right? I hate when people
that's
say that
true.
because everything is a social construct. A tree is a
Yeah.
social construct.
Do you
We
know what the
call it a
problem
tree
is?
because we all agree to call it a tree.
Yeah.
Everything is a
You know,
social construct.
that's true. The ones, a lot of people, not all, but some people that say it's a social construct, right? They're saying it in a way to make it
To dismiss it.
they're saying
They're
it,
trying to to
Yeah.
dismiss
they're
it, but it
saying
makes
it
no sense.
they're saying it to imply that it's not real, but social constructs are real.
Are
Like
real.
yeah,
Yeah.
they
That's
think they
fact.
they act like a social construct cannot be real. Like something can be a social construct and be real at the same time.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
Because we all agree that a
yeah,
car is a car, right? That's a social construct.
right. Yeah, exactly. It was socially constructed. A
We
lot of
all agree
things
that
in life.
African Americans were black people. That's a social construct. So we can all
Yeah,
agree that
but that's real.
biracial people are biracial. That's the social
Exactly.
construct. Like it's not a hard concept. But
It's
they try
funny.
to.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
but
It's
I,
you know what I'm
but
thinking.
go on.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was something I was saying earlier about, you remember the term Afro Moroni? So I said that I was
Mhm.
going to be using that term, and not just me, but even my subscribers. Some people they find it fancy, they like it. I will explain why. Not that anyone else will. I'll explain why I use that because this is all in the name of representation. And remember, I said the standard of what African people look like is dark skin, dark brown eyes, Afro textured hair, and unambiguous, right? So this is all in the name of representation. So I've noticed in the media, especially in the States media, when they use people to represent African people, like first African this or whatever, they always use mixed looking people, like whether it's Afro Moroni,
Yes.
because again, they're
Just
not the same as African people.
payment.
Yeah.
Yep,
Well, I
definitely.
mean, America just got in trouble with that with Egypt about Cleopatra. You know what I'm saying? America got a bad habit of putting like we don't want. It's crazy because we don't want like I hear like a lot of people say Africans are bringing their ideology of their concept of race to America, but we're doing the same thing. Like you're painting Cleopatra
Not
as
only that, they're
some
trying to define who is African. I'm like, who better than actual Africans? And
right.
they're
So
trying to tell
that
us
goes back
not to do that.
to
X.
that goes back to a respect thing. People are not respecting boundaries. It's like let African people tell you who they are,
Right.
and you
Imagine
could
telling
tell
an
people
African
Exactly.
and Americans
Tell
could
us
tell you
who
who
you
they
are.
are. It's that
it's
simple.
Exactly.
Like
arrogant.
let people tell you who they are, and you
Exactly. Because
like if I
Jim,
tell you I'm biracial,
there we
let me
go.
be
Yeah.
biracial. If you tell me
Let
you
me be who
African, you
I am.
African.
Facts, because you were the one. Yeah, you really inspired me when you were saying that. Because I was saying that I was like, yo, why don't people let us be who we are? Everyone's always trying to tell you, no, you're black, you're this, you're that, you're that. But I'm like, yo, I'm telling you exactly who I am. And then you were telling me how, oh, that's narcissism. That's psychopathic people who are trying to tell you who the fuck you are. So it's like that happens to African people too. They're trying to tell African people who the fuck they are when it's
Like
like, no, I know who the fuck I am. So it's like it's happening to all of us. Like other people trying to define. Okay, well, you know what it reminds me of? Like, we goes back to the whole social construct shit, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
there's like objective reality of it reminds me of like it's kind of get a little spicy, but it kind of reminds me of like how people are kind of trying to redefine what a woman is in a way to include like
Yes.
something else that's kind of not what a woman is. That's what
Yeah.
it kind of reminds me of. That's what kind of like the one drop rule reminds me of. It kind of reminds me, oh, we're trying to change what black is to include something that's not black, but we're just gonna try
yeah,
to change the whole
you got to
construct of
change
it.
black
To,
so you could
you know,
put things to
yeah,
like
that's what it
to
reminds
force
me of.
people into the
Yeah,
space. That's
exactly. It
crazy.
kind of reminds me of like
That's
how
deep.
they're changing the definition of what a woman is to like it's just like how you feel
So
or what
everything
I'm saying.
it's
It's
so
great. That's
instead of creating a new category for it,
instead of creating a new category, they
want
want
to
to like
change what it
force it.
is so it can fit together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
kind of
crazy.
what happens a lot, and it's like I think it has to do with language though. Like we have to create new shit.
Yeah,
Like at the end of the day, there's always
language is
like,
powerful.
language
That's
is so
why
powerful. Like we
that's
have
why they
things
use it.
to
That's why we
define
all
things. Yeah,
speak English because they knew that
exactly.
language was powerful. That you can control
Facts.
people with words, and
Yeah,
it's
it's like it comes down to language because it's like, oh, what is this, what is that, and it's like we give meaning to these words, right? And it's like people try to redefine the meanings all the time to like make it include something that is not what it is. But
that's
it's
why
instead of creating a new language for it, like how you're doing, Cham, we need to create new language for these types of things at the end of the day, so we don't destroy the meaning of the
Yeah.
original thing that it was defining. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what we got to do.
Respect differences. Don't try to replace.
yeah,
Don't
You
try to
know.
replace them.
back to the
Yeah,
like the people trying to tell you what you are, like with Cleopatra, like how they put her on Netflix. Instead of America creating their own definition of what happened in Egypt, why not just ask the Egyptians? Let them tell the story, and then you could put it in your media. Like, why are you?
exactly. Why do people always think they
They
know
did that
better?
with Jesus. They said Jesus is
Yeah,
white. How is Jesus white when he was from Israel? That
And
don't
they
make
try to
sense.
say they use a biracial character. I mean, a biracial actress to play Cleopatra, and people saying that they're blackwashing. I'm like, the woman is not even African, as in black. You seen the actress of
I
Cleopatra?
I heard she was
No.
biracial. I don't know that she
She
was like.
she looks mixed. Let's just say
Okay,
she's
let's
mixed
just say
looking.
she is biracial. What is that? What she
I'm
could have
talking
been
about
white
like
passing, black passing,
I
mixed
heard she was
passing.
I don't
My
know.
my,
I've
my
heard people
point is
play
people.
her, but I don't know.
My point is, why are people saying that people are basically saying that
She's black. You
oh,
said
they made Cleo,
blackwashing, like
they
they're
they
acting like
yeah,
she's
like,
full
oh,
black.
they made Cleopatra
No,
black. I'm like, but if you look at that actress, she's not even black
She's not
herself
black.
as an
Yeah.
African. Yeah.
But you said that mixed people have been representing what black people is for so long in America because
Yeah.
we're more palatable or whatever
Because they want to change the image of black
they
people.
want to change.
That's been their goal
And
from
that's something
from
I've
day
been
one.
an ally to try to fight against. That's why I've been like, no, we need
Pe-
our own category, we need our own definitions
look
because we
look at the
don't want
time.
to
Look
represent
look
what black is,
look
right?
at the timeline though. If you look at the timeline, you could talk to older people that were born in the 50s. Black people were
Absolutely.
not even seen in the media. It was just all white. So when black people started getting representation in the media, they
It was
look.
like Lita Horns and stuff,
It's
that was
like okay,
definitely
it's
advocate
like
mixed.
it went from no representation at all to now we got half black representation, and it's like now
Yeah.
you're fighting for full black representation. So you know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? It was like a foot in the
Yeah.
door type thing.
No, absolutely. And yeah, by the way, I hope no one gets offended, but like, yeah, I'm just calling it a spade. But the back to the Afro Marones is trust me, it's gonna catch on. But these people, yes, they're majority African, but notice how we don't call people like Meghan Markle or Mariah Carey and Rashida Jones. We never call them European Americans.
No.
So why I'm just being logical here. If we don't call them European Americans, why should I call Michael B. Jordan or Will Smith or Ice Cube? Why should I call them African Americans? It goes both ways.
So you guys know how historically, like back in the day, they had all these categories, right? So this is nothing new of people trying to create categories. Like they had over like 100 different categories for like your admixture percentage or whatever, right?
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
You
I
know
know
what I'm
what you
saying? Like back in the day,
mean.
they had that, but then they got
Hmm.
rid of that because the one drop rule came in and was like, screw all that. We don't want to. I wonder what was that because of white supremacy? Because that they got rid of all those categories and then we have to like completely like throw that out the window and now everybody's black or white. Like it went from like all these different categories to just black and white. So it's like,
Yeah, it's
but
just remember America was built on racism, so
yeah,
Right. So
people are just
right
evil.
when
People are
when
just evil. That's
when
why this is why
laws.
when people ask me, "Oh, hey, Chandmeister, would you ever visit the United States?" No offense to you lot, it's nothing personal. I would never visit the United States because the way they treat people like myself, the way they're trying to replace my image. Have you seen the people on the boat? You see the people on the boat. You know what they look like? They look like me.
mm-hmm.
Dark skin, dark brown. But you know what? Not hey, this
Yeah,
isn't
that's the only time black people in America get actual representation is when it's about a slave thing. Like they'll put
right.
the darkest people on there.
It's
But when it
sad.
comes to
Yeah.
anything else, they're light skinned
Yeah, it's
or
always
mixed.
the patronizing represent like for example donations to the poor. Oh,
I
if you could
hate
just
that. Yeah, it's so
yeah,
sad.
yeah. Have you noticed that the adverts where
I mean, that makes
donating
sense
to
because
I've
if
seen
they're
them
Africa,
light skinned, they're gonna think
shows
that
on
they don't
YouTube.
really need
Like
any
YouTube's
money
going
because they're
hard for those. I don't
privileged.
understand. Yeah.
which shows that we're not the same, innit? This is
Yeah.
this is a wake up call for
Oh,
people.
no,
All these
they
little
know it's not
things.
the same. It's just dumb people in society that just run
Yeah,
with what people are telling them. They're
yeah. Or
brainwashed.
the disingenuous people that know we're not the same but
Yeah,
act like
that's
we
even
are.
worse when you
I
know
hate those
and act.
people. I think that's psychopathic, bro.
Yeah, that's even worse. Like you
Yeah.
know, and you're still running with it.
So regarding the representation in the media, I want everyone to have accurate, exclusive representation. But regarding these mixed-looking
Accurate.
people, yeah, accurate, exactly. But like considering the way African people actually look like, I'm saying all these Afro Mariners and Afro Euros. I'm not imposing terms. I'm just saying, like for example, I use the term Afro Euro for people who are half African, half European, because apparently the term mulatto is offensive. So I'm like, okay, let me say
I
Afro
was
Euro as an alternative.
I was just about to talk about that. So, like I said, back in the day, how it's like all these different categories, 100 categories. There was mulatto, that was the actual category back in the day. But,
Yeah.
people are kind of against us having our own category because they're like, oh, historically, it was white people who created these categories. You know what I'm saying? It was all out
Hmm.
of racism that they created these categories. So they're thinking, oh, if you want your own category, then you're racist or whatever, because they're thinking that was white people who created the categories out of racism and then they got rid of them. But it's like, but if we take back the narrative, like, no, we're creating things for ourselves now. We're not just letting white people, oh, you're a mulatto, you're this, and out
They're
of
trying to tell
racism,
you how to
you know?
feel about the term when there's no.
Yeah.
They're
So
trying to
it's
make
like
something a
it's not
problem.
white people giving us terms and giving us categories. It's like us defining ourselves and giving us our own terms and our own names and our own categories now. You know what I'm saying? So that's where
Yeah.
we're at right now.
I think
You know?
people should wake up. For people to not want you to have a category should tell you something. Like, why don't these
Yeah.
people want me to be categorized? categorize. Like
Because they,
that should
it's
tell you
like
something
people
because
want, it's like a controlling
no,
thing though.
let me tell you, let me ask you this. And who in like the 1800s and 1700s, who were the people that didn't have a category? The slaves. So people who are not categorized are slaves.
Hmm.
They had categories. They had categories,
They
definitely.
didn't. They didn't have
But
category. A slave had no category.
no,
They were
no.
considered one fifth human. They weren't even humans.
Wait,
But
it's all about
they had
context.
a race. But you know where the whole racial categories come from? It comes from like racist scientists that were looking at skulls, and even Caucasian people. They're not even like the real Caucasians. Like that's totally an appropriation of like the Romani and like the people from like they're not even the same people. Like who because they looked at like the skulls and whatever the one that was the most attractive, that's like, oh, this must be the white people or the Caucasian. But it wasn't even them. Like they were totally. But it comes from racism. Like the whole categorization. It comes from like them trying to put themselves on top. But that's what I'm saying. We gotta like redefine shit for ourselves. Like, hey, we all know we're different. We all know this is racial reality.
Without a political class,
Without
without a
it
political
having
identity,
this undertone,
you are the lowest in
stuff above.
society. You know that.
Like we want to have like we want to define ourselves like have our own shit, but I'm not trying to put myself above you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Absolutely.
what people think that with biracial people, they're like, oh, you're trying to put yourself above us and have your own category so you could be higher on the
Okay,
hierarchy.
so
But
look.
that's not what I'm
Think
you know?
about that. When people tell you you're trying to put yourself above us, but you're already above me because you're telling me I'm trying to put myself above you. That means that you're above me. So why is it better that you're above me, but I'm not? But it's not better for me to
They
be
want to
above
keep
you.
you like, yeah, because
But
Oh,
I'm just saying.
Jay, well
I see what
played.
you're saying.
I see what you did there.
I
Yeah,
see what you
that's a good
mean.
point.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah,
dead
Yeah.
ass serious. You sitting here
I
telling
believe
me
you.
I don't want you to be above me. So why should I be okay with you being above me?
Yeah, it's like when they say you're trying to put yourself above me,
That's
they're making
something
the implication that they're above
That
you
I'm
already.
yeah.
that's something I want to destroy. The whole argument of like the racial hierarchy.
So if
I've
it's
never
okay for you
bought
to be
into that.
above me, then I feel like it should be okay for me to want to be above you.
No, but
Yeah,
me
I'm not
personally,
saying that that's what I should aim for. Like my aim is equality, but
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
your that should be your aim too. Like talk to me with equality. You know what I'm saying? Don't
Yeah,
talk
like
to me
not like,
like
oh, you're
you're
talking
above
like,
me.
yeah,
Like
I've always hated the whole racial hierarchy thing. Like that's what America was built on. It's like, you know what I'm saying? This whole racial hierarchy of
I
like,
mean, it's smart. It's
whites
smart
on
that
top.
black people played it that way, though. You got to understand, they took the things that made white people powerful. They took those things, implemented them, and gave their self power, which makes sense. Like, why wouldn't you do that if it's working for them? Why wouldn't you do that to empower yourself? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's how biracial people should be thinking. They should be thinking, damn, white people are getting power. Black people are in a better place than they used to be. Not where they want to be, but where they used to be. So they know something. They know something how to empower themselves. So why aren't we
I think
taking
there's
these?
some things like working together. Like there's positive things that we can implement, but all like the part of like oppressing others, like all that bullshit, like I would throw that out. I wouldn't want to partake in no shit like that because that
Well,
was.
but black people don't oppress others. I mean, they
I'm talking
contribute.
about. I'm talking about what black people implemented. You know what I'm saying? What did they learn from white people that put themselves in power? Like what did they learn from? What do you think they learned from white people? What do you
They
think?
learned that you gotta be fighting your own race. You gotta empower your race. Like you gotta be an extremist, a nationalist, and they took it to the extremes to fight the extreme. And like that's why white people always
Umar
say, "Don't
Johnson,
fight
the,
racism with racism."
Umar
They're
Johnson
telling them that because it's working.
politically black and the black nationalism and yeah, there is that. I don't know.
Magic. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah, of course.
So this is here's another twist I like to say because there's a lot of twists, right? For context, so you have probably experienced in your life or observed, so-called black people. Because again, it's an absolute mess. The categories are a mess. Like everyone's black, but anyway, so it's very skewed. A lot of people will try to force biracials or get mad at biracials for identifying as what they are. My question to you is, from your observation, based on the context that I have given you, of African and Afro Moroni, has it mainly, from your observation, has it mainly been Afro Moronis that have been
Yes.
getting mad?
Yeah,
This is where the twist comes in, isn't it?
it
Isn't
is.
it? Because
It
you know
is.
why? Because they have a lot of times they have a mixed parent. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, for
That's
sure.
why they look the way they do. It's not the Wesley
And
Snipes for
yeah,
the most
because
part.
historically, like the one drop rule been in play. So biracial people from the past, they completely identified as black because they're like they don't have nothing else. So it's like they completely. So those parents, you know, made sure like hey they made sure they got with like they wanted to make sure their kids were like black as well. They wanted to like breed out the whiteness because they associate that with like slave rape and like they didn't want to a lot of they don't like that, you
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? They don't want to be they don't want
Yeah,
that. They
they
don't
want to
accept
bring it back
they don't accept
to
a lot of them
African.
don't like from the especially from the past when it was like forced and all this shit like in
Hmm.
America. Nowadays, people are we're fine because it's not forced. But back in the day when it was people don't want to embrace that like European blood because it was something forced and it was something that was associated. So that's why they wanted to identify as black so bad because it's like they identified with that because it's like what I'm saying. So
Hmm.
That's look. That's
Are
the
you talking about
problem.
the biracials or the Afro Maronis?
I'm talking about the biracials that birthed the
Oh,
Afro Maronis.
Look.
yeah,
That's the.
yeah.
Yeah,
Due
that's what I'm
to
talking about.
procreating with an African, yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah,
if
and
I were
that
to
that
procreate with
birthed
a Halle
them,
Berry.
and that's why they're like, oh, I'm. That's why they believe they're totally black because it's like, oh, my mom's black, even though they don't, because the mom doesn't even recognize herself as mixed at all because they don't want to.
Right.
She doesn't want to identify herself as. They don't want to identify themselves as mixed because that's like taboo. That's like oh, that's from uh, a rape or that's from that blood in me. I don't claim it. I don't
Hmm.
claim that white in me because that's from you know something that was
But
forced.
look, that mindset came from those times, and it makes sense. If you think about like the problem we're having now, look at the entire timeline. Like when laws change, the mindsets didn't change with it, and that's the problem. Like
Yes,
they didn't think about like, all right, for example, when interracial marriage became legal, that obviously was going to create more mixed people than before. But so they didn't think about like what social changes this going to bring. How should we categorize these people? Like they didn't think about these
I didn't
things.
think about.
They
They
just
didn't
changed
care.
the law. They just changed the law and they didn't think about the impact, the magnitude of what's going to
They
happen.
only think about what's best for themselves. Like nobody's sitting here taking into account how houses is going to
But that
affect.
wasn't even what was best for themselves. That's what I'm trying to say. Like they're
Oh,
changing
yeah,
laws and not even. It's like an experiment. Like you're changing the law and not even knowing what's going to happen or what's going to happen because you don't know the future. You don't know people's minds. And the mindset, white. If you living in the 1900s, you know what white people are doing around you. You're gonna have a different mindset. If you're born in 2000, white people are not doing those things, so your mindset is gonna be different. You get
exactly.
what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep. So now, like in the future, like we're focusing on the future, right? Because it's like we know our history, know where we come from, we know all about it, right? So moving forward, it's like now like us, like if we're mixed, we're creating, we can't sit here. I'm not gonna sit here and be ashamed of it. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't
Hmm.
like a rape. It wasn't a result. It's people, two consensual people coming together because they, love each other and they create us. Like our generation, like moving forward and creating the next generation. I think that's when people are gonna be more accepting of like I am not 100% black. I'm a Afro Moroni because it's like my mother. She was proud. She claimed being mixed because it wasn't you know it wasn't like a horrible tragic thing like the whole tragic mulatto trope that comes from like oh you're a product of like rape, you're rejecting them. It's like we're moving past that trope, like we're this new
I
generation.
I have some advice.
Yeah,
This is for the MGMs, like not the first gen biracials, but the MGMs, the people who are multi generational mix, who are products of grape. Right. My advice is this. Now, firstly, I want to say I can only imagine what that feels like. But my advice is to not, I know it's easier said than done, but do not beat yourself up for something that you cannot control.
I agree.
You cannot control that. Like those are your ancestors. They're not you. Don't let them define who you are. You didn't do those things. You're your own person. Whatever your ancestors did, you didn't do it. It's the same with me. Like whatever my ancestors did, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do it. Chammeister didn't do it. Okay, or this great grandfather of mine did X, Y, and Z. That wasn't me.
Exactly.
I'm
They
my
don't
own
on
person.
that shame because they feel like ashamed of like, oh, this happened to my family
Mhm.
and this is how we look because that's what happened. But it's like that's not their shame to take on. Like, you know what I'm
Right,
saying? Should not
exactly.
feel shamed at all for how they are, you know? Like don't
But
feel
it's
like
even worse that people remind them of it. Like, oh, you're
that's
that
so
because of
sad. People
race.
are always
Like, you just gonna throw
that's
that in their face,
they
like,
always throw that. Like I experienced that. It was just online. Like
oh,
this
you're only
life,
mixed
but like
because your family got great. Like,
yeah, I remember when I was in pro black spaces and stuff. It's like, oh, you know, I'm. People would always talk about that, like, oh, all these like tragic rape babies that turn out light skin and they're just like like people do throw that in like light
You know
skin,
what's ironic,
especially
Magic? You know
yeah,
what's ironic? In these in these so-called black spaces, were they mainly Afro Maronis saying these grape jokes?
yeah.
Mommy, where was she been?
It's sad. It's really
She
sad.
been
It's
washed
like
or the bed?
Don't you think that's ironic? Because chances are they probably came from
have it.
grape
It's
as well.
Wash
Hello?
or the bed?
yeah. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I was saying, if assuming that it was the Afro Maronis who were basically making the grape jokes, chances are they probably came from grape themselves.
Exactly.
Hello?
Exactly. And it's like a
The
deflection. It's like I don't
wash
want to
is
deal with that, so I'm kind of. It's like
Hmm.
it's like
where you was she been?
it reminds me of like the people who are like extremely hateful of gay people. They end up being like down low themselves. Like you know what I'm saying? It's like a
Yes.
projection.
Well played. Well
look,
played.
Yeah.
this is controversial, but I think that, like, with the whole identity thing, for example, like, look at Cham and look at me, right? I'll be considered black in America. Me and him look nothing alike. So what I'm trying to get to is, like, what black people in America don't realize is that they think they're breeding out whiteness when they procreate with white people because they think black is the dominant gene, but really
That's true.
they're genociding themselves, and I'm proof of that because look at my skin, look at how I look. I don't look like Cham.
Right. And
So I'm
and
proof
and here's the thing.
that you're genociding yourself. Like, if I
Right.
get with a
Right.
white woman, my kid is gonna be white as fuck.
And you know what? And I swear to God, again, one thing you need to know about me, I'm not a malicious or spiteful person. I'm just saying what it is. I'm not trying to impose anything. So you guys can
Yeah,
identify as a, but
I'm the same way. Like, I just say the truth, and then people will be like,
yeah.
"Oh, you're militant." No, the
But
truth. You know what
remember
I'm
what I
saying?
said about Afro Moroni, though. Remember what I said about Afro Moroni. So a lot of biracials. Here's another twist. Right, another observation. Due to the history, and more Afro Moronis being produced in America, there are a lot of biracials today in America that have an Afro Moroni parent and a European parent. Like, and I'm gonna name you. So I'm gonna give you guys some names, and this is really gonna shock you. Are you guys ready for this?
I
You ready?
know one. I know Megan one.
Meghan Markle's for one. Meghan Markle doesn't have an African parent. Like the mother looks hella mixed. All right,
Yes.
but
Hmm.
this one. You ready for this one?
Yeah. Go ahead.
This one doesn't surprise me, but yeah, Drake.
His
Have you
dad.
seen?
Yeah. I'm seeing his dad. Yeah. His dad
You
is.
see what I mean?
Yeah, I
So
see.
there's a lot of biracial that a lot of people don't know don't actually have an African parent, but their parent looks like
Oh,
Afro
it's kind of
Moroni.
like Obama. You know how everyone's like
Oh,
Obama straight black. They were thinking he's 100% black man, but his father is like straight from Africa. So
oh
it's like
yeah. Barack
you
Obama, in terms
yeah,
of first generation biracial,
like
he
a real
again,
one.
this is no offense to people. No, no, you guys are biracial. Don't get me wrong, but again, that's why I use the term first generation biracial because you got like the first generation biracial is someone like Barack Obama or Jordan Peele. Like they have an actual African parent and a European parent, but the ones who have a Afro Moroni parent and a European parent, I'm not taking away their biracialness. They're still biracial. I'm just making the
They're just more
distinction
white.
regarding
They're
their
just more
parents.
white, and that's my
Yeah,
point. They're
exactly.
genocide in America. They're genociding themselves because there's more African American, or, well, I don't even know what's that term you said. Afro Maroon. I don't
Afro
even know what that
Moroni.
is. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but there's more of
Brown skin,
those.
brown skin.
There's more of those than Africans in America.
What does that tell
So
you? So,
No,
so can
yeah,
so that's what I'm saying. So, and white people just happen to be the 70% of the population. So how is 12% of these already 10% white in their DNA going to breed out 70% when you're only
that's the
12%?
well, look, you know what's weird? Okay, I've heard a lot of like in pro-black spaces saying, yeah, we're gonna breed out white people. We're just gonna fuck all these
But
white.
how are you gonna do that when you're
I've
12%?
heard that before. I've heard that argument. That's how we're gonna get rid of white. We're gonna fuck our way out of white supremacy. And I'm like, I thought that was the
And
stupidest
they're
thing.
gonna create people like me.
How is this gonna work? But
You know what makes it worse? When you take out the Afro Morones and all these other mixed looking people, and you just leave the Wesley Snipes and the Shaquille O'Neals, the Viola Davises, you actually get like 6% or even less.
yeah,
Exactly. So you cannot
exactly.
breed out the
So
70% because look, if okay, let's say 50% of the white people are just like, or like let's just say 50% pure white people, and then 20% because it's 70% white people, 20% of pure white people could literally make every black person in America mixed, and there'll still be 50% pure white people. Do you know what I'm saying?
I
I
know
know.
what you're saying.
And look, but that's an actual fear. Like there's this video that I forgot her name. She's a YouTuber. She was like, the video was called "Are dark skinned people gonna go extinct?" Because she's like actual like dark skinned black woman, and it's like it's actual fear. It's like if we keep this up, thinking this mirage that
They should be
America,
scared because they're thinking
that,
they're breeding white people out, and they're making people
this
like me,
racial
bro. I'm
black,
proof. Like
the
I'm
black
sitting here,
is
proof, living proof.
the black seed is all powerful and it creates black children no matter what, and all this different like delusions that are like not real. And if people keep that up and not having like an actual definition of what black is and what it's not, like yeah, it's gonna, people are gonna get lighter and lighter and lighter. Like dark skin is gonna be more rare and rare and rare in America, because America's a majority white country as it is, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's
So
connected. It's connected to Europe. It's not connected to Africa. So all they got to do is just send more Europeans over here.
and it's
Like
But
if you
what?
think about it, like Ukraine right now, right? Where are all the refugees coming? They're gonna come to America, and there's just gonna
But
be more white people here.
yeah. But you know what? It's interesting what you mentioned, Magic, because as you know, African people are being bred out. So what is happening coincidentally in America is the standards of what is considered dark skin is getting lighter as well. Where
Right.
I'm looking at
And
certain
and
people in
and
the media that are
and
being
light skin
considered
is
dark
getting
skin.
lighter. The term light
Right.
skin is getting lighter. Dark skin is getting lighter. So
Some people would say even Gabrielle Union's dark skin, for example, and I'm looking at her, I'm like, she is definitely not dark skin. Do you know what I'm
that's
saying? So it's having that effect. So
look at Ice Spice. They're saying Ice Spice is light skinned, and she's
yeah,
almost Drake's son's color.
I see that, especially like I watch like a lot of like makeup videos and stuff, and like the makeup community,
You
and
could
it's like, oh, I'm dark skinned. I'm like, she's very like pretty brown, like I don't know if y'all know
if
her, like
you could be
Jackie.
white. You could be white
Yeah,
with an afro. You're considered a light skinned black person.
exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Considering all that, guys, just an innocent question. Me, looking like my ancestors, like for example, the ones on the boat, everyone was all dark skinned with the Afro texture.
You mean the
Basically, the
original black,
prototype, the
original
original
black
black
folk?
people. Yeah. So my question is, can you guys, am I irrational for feeling some type of way about the way the media is trying to
No, you
redefine my
should.
image?
it's
You
good that
should.
you're
You
speaking
should. Because
up.
if you
No,
don't say anything, they're just gonna walk all over you and
Right.
because
Because
misrepresent
some
you.
people think I'm being irrational, but I
Like
don't
they
think I'm being irrational.
No,
you're completely right, because look, I've heard a lot of black women speak on it, you know what I'm saying, and I completely agree with them. It's like, they use biracial women to represent black women, and I'm like, I agree, like they should represent biracial women, should represent biracial women, black women should represent,
But
and
even
I
Afro
totally,
Moroni should represent Afro
they
Moroni
should,
because again,
people
Michael
should be
B. I
represent,
can't
yeah,
relate to Will Smith. I can't relate
but
to Michael B. Jordan.
I never really hear like black men speak upon it too much, because they're like kind of like, because there is a lot of like there's more black male representation in the media. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to like dark
That's a
black,
fact.
when it versus dark skinned black women, like it's more acceptable for dark
Mhm.
versus, and that's sad, right? So it's like a lot. That's why I don't see. Maybe that's why a lot of black men don't feel like they got to speak on it, because they're like, oh, well, I could look at Wesley Snipes or like a lot of these dark Idris Elba, like they're completely,
Yes.
you know what
they
I'm
have a
saying?
lot of representation, so they're
They
not
got
gonna
that like
relate.
representation of
They're
like,
not gonna relate.
of like
They
a
just can't relate.
strong, and versus like
Mhm.
it's always a light skinned black women being represented. Have you seen that one movie? What was that one movie? It was like a cow. It was so I liked the movie. It was like a cowboy movie. It was like a black cowboy movie in like the 1800s or whatever. But it was like all these really handsome like dark skinned black men, and then who was a love interest, like this really like light light skinned woman. You know, I was like, oh, you know,
Mhm.
I knew people weren't gonna like it, but I'm like, it's always like that. That's
Hey,
just the like the norm,
they
unfortunately. It's
they was
sad.
calling
Like
they was calling Meghan Markle a black girl until she
a
called
black
herself
prince,
biracial.
a black
Yeah,
princess.
Mhm.
she
Yeah,
had when she they were calling her that until she called herself biracial. If she would have never came out and said no, I'm biracial, they still would be calling her a black woman right now.
Mhm. Mhm.
for sure. And I feel like
Oh,
everybody turned on her. I don't know. She gets so much hate. I don't know. Poor girl. I don't
I
know.
don't.
I feel like she gets an unnecessary amount of hate for like they say that. I don't know. I feel like it's unnecessary. Like,
Hey,
but
my phone's done. I'm gonna charge it, and I'll come back if you're still on here. If not, we'll catch
put it on
another
the
one
charger. Where your charger at?
later today.
Where your charger at?
What you mean? I
Not
am gonna
a
put it on charger.
tragic. Not that is any of my business. Feel free to say. Prefer not to say because I respect people's privacy. If you don't mind me asking, do you have an Afro Moroni parent?
Like I don't. I
Brown skinned?
probably cause my dad's black, but like he's from America, like from slavery, so he probably does have like 10, 15%
No, no,
black.
no. I'm not asking like the percentage. Like, who'd you compare him to? Like a Michael B. Jordan or Will Smith?
Like you have like Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Because it was again, I'm not imposing. Like anyone can identify as whatever they want. Like whatever. You
Yeah,
know, I'm just. It was just
yeah. That's
interesting. I
you.
was just
No, it
curious.
makes sense. Like, cause that's probably why I'm so light. Cause he's like Michael B.
Yeah,
Jordan.
yeah. It makes
Yeah,
sense. The
he's
Meghan
not like
Markles.
dark skin. Like not like.
Nah. Yeah,
But
because
there's my
people
cousin is
like.
dark skinned, but my dad's sister, which is my sister's the same color as Michael. I mean, my aunt is the same color as Michael B. Jordan, but her son is dark skinned like you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, he's actually darker than you, probably. Like he's really dark, and I don't
Okay.
know. So
Okay. Cool.
like basically what I'm saying is he's the same like as my dad, but he's dark skinned.
Cool. What was I gonna
But
say?
I'm gonna charge my phone though, so
Mhm.
All right. I'm probably gonna end it, but it was fun, guys.
yeah, I think it was a good conversation.
It was
Oh,
Um,
really good.
absolutely.
I thank you for
we
having.
we're gonna do another one later. I'm gonna make a channel. Like I'm trying to
We're
get
gonna do
involved.
part two.
I'm finna be active in this space. Like we gotta
Definitely.
we
It
gotta
was.
change the world.
I'm
We're gonna
gonna go
change the
live
world.
with Anthony, and me and Anthony talk. You know, guys know Anthony. Anthony. So I'm gonna go live with him. I'm gonna start like co-hosting like streams with him and stuff just for fun, like on his channel. So he's gonna come back to the space. So that's gonna be Saturday. I'm gonna be on his live. If you guys want to
You gonna
watch.
do one later today or what?
Yeah, I'll do one later today. I mean, I got time today. I'm off work. Shit. You guys.
I hit you.
Ju- All right. Just a reminder: don't let anyone gaslight you for talking about race. Remember,
Nah,
race is not a problem.
it
that
was
that
good
actually
talking
helps
to you though,
a lot, you
Chan.
know, that because
Hmm.
I really want to keep it healthy, like keep it balanced, keep it positive, and
Hmm.
I don't want talking about race always turn. I just noticed that always turn negative and toxic, and like you said,
Hmm.
you just hit the nail on the head when it says people use it to like cover up their own bullshit and
As
issues.
a
Like,
scapegoat.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I thank you for saying that because I'm like, that's what made me want to ignore it because I'm like, it always negative. So we could talk about it without it being like a fucking negative and
Right.
turn. You know, we could talk about it. We need to talk about it, and it's good and it's
Yeah.
healthy, it's positive, productive way. We're just having all respect. It's all love and
I
all
ain't
respect.
worried about it. They come over here with that negative stuff. We gonna just call them out on it. We
Yeah.
gonna
They're
let them
just
know about themselves.
projecting. You know, it's very simple. Hey, we're different. I can acknowledge that someone's a different race, but I can also be a decent human being as well. So the problem is they have behavioral issues.
We need people to hate though. That's how we could use them as an example of what's really going on. Like
Right.
I agree.
they're gonna be the ingredient to all this. They're just gonna prove the point.
I
Mhm.
100% agree. All right, it's been so good. You know, moving. I think I feel really good about moving forward and keep having these calls. There's still so much I feel like I left unaddressed. Like I talked about a lot of things, but I still want to keep moving forward and focus on what's important, have my priorities right, and actually like like I feel like you're like our biggest ally, Cham. Like I remember
I
we had that.
appreciate it.
I do feel like you're really big. I feel like I'm an ally to you. Like we're on the
Yeah.
same page
See,
of what
you
we
could be
want.
different and agree. Like it helps him that we call
Yeah,
ourselves
Exactly.
biracial. Because like I
exactly.
said, the one drop rule, it killed two birds with one stone, right? So it
Yeah.
makes
So we're
sense
Mhm.
that
actually yeah.
just like the one drop rule affected us both, going against it will affect us both, but in a good way.
Both out, you know, we're helping each other out. So like we're
We
establishing,
both get our identities
and
back.
then you get your representation of like what you really are.
You get
So
the representation you want. We get the representation we want.
exactly, and it's a win.
Right.
So I'm with it, you know. So
Yeah.
it's been good.
Exactly.
It's been good talking to you, man. We're gonna talk again. We're gonna jump on here. We're gonna do a part 2 to this because it's early. It's like 4 a.m. where I'm at. So it's like late. So I don't know who up. There was like 3, 4, 5 people watching. Like I know this real late over here. I know it's morning time over there, but we'll do
Yeah.
a part 2. Maybe more people will be up then, and then they'll be
Mhm.
talking. But thank you
No doubt.
everybody who came through. All y'all cloud watchers ain't saying nothing, but you know it's all love here.
Mhm.
And y'all have a great night. Like it was fun. All right, y'all.
Absolutely. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.